Welcome everyone back to the Junk Planet. Today we're looking at the NECA Ultimate Doc Brown. This is 1955 Doc Brown. So this is a young Doc. Young, handsome, yellow-haired Doc. And guys, I'm getting real here. I'm getting real. This is one of the best things I've ever seen. It's like butter my toast with jam. This is so good. It's tasty, it's zingy, it's spicy, it's got that undercurrent of good plastic goodness. Any of that makes sense? I'm sorry. I'm so excited. Alright, ignore me. This thing is bloody awesome. Can't wait to get into it. I have been really enjoying these NECA figures, the Back to the Future ones so far. They've been pretty good. Some of the head sculpts, hit and miss. But this Doc, it's like having a miniature Christopher Lloyd that I can carry around in my back pocket. And who doesn't want that? Huh? Nobody. Exactly. Oh, and please, if you're watching this, like, subscribe, hit that bell button. I don't know what hitting the bell button does, but I hear that's the craze these days, so please do that. It really helps the channel out. Look forward to weekly reviews. Unfortunately, I couldn't do any last week because I was preoccupied. I had work stuff going on. But this week, we are back with the 2 reviews a week. Later this week, I'll be looking at the Bring Arts Aqua. If you're not interested in that, I'm going to shut up. So here we go. Without further ado, let's review. Okay, and here we have the box for Doc. Cool packaging. It's very similar to the other Back to the Future figures from this line. What's cool about these figures is they all have a custom front panel for their box. For Doc here, he's got a bunch of Doc-esque things. You've got some blueprints, his mind-reading device, newspapers, stopwatch, all that good stuff. Save the clock tower. Yeah, so that's cool. For some of the other ones, like I know for Biff, it's the Sports Almanac is on the front. So if you just wanted to collect these boxes and have them displayed for like a Back to the Future display, they look great. They honestly look really cool. On the side here, Back to the Future Ultimate Doc Brown. On the back, you got some pictures of Doc, looking real good. At the bottom, you have the other figures in the line. So you got Marty McFly 1985, Tales from Space Marty, 2015 Marty, this Doc, and 1955 Biff Tannen. It also says here the accessories it comes with, which is the Do Not Open Envelope, Flux Capacitor Drawing, Wrench, Goggles, Blueprint, and Interchangeable Heads and Hands. Here there is a write-up about Doc, although it's not really about his character in particular, it just kind of is a summary of what Back to the Future is about. So Marty McFly and Doc Brown experience the adventure of a lifetime in an unlikely time machine as they travel to past, present, and future, setting off a time-shattering chain reaction that disrupts the time-space continuum. Isn't it space-time continuum? Oh, well, it doesn't matter. I'm just a nerd. Alright, same on this side as well. And you whack it open. You have this lovely high-res image of Doc on the left, and then on the side, this is where the figure would be, although I've already taken out the box. Behind it, you have more accessories. That's the blueprints and the letter and such, which I will obviously get to. I will take those out. Then on the top, Doc Brown again. On the bottom, you got some Legally stuff. Elliot and E.T., Universal, and then the people who made the figure, which is always nice. I like that. It's a nice touch. Anyway, let's bloody do this. Okay, and here we have Doc himself, Emmett Brown, and great Scott! This thing rules. This is by far the best Back to the Future figure that NECA have released. I do own them all, apart from I think there's a new Marty McFly, which is just essentially Marty McFly without his jacket. So I'm not picking that up. It's also inaccurate to the film. We'll get to that later. But yes, out of all the ones I own, this is by far the best one. That face sculpt is incredible. Absolutely incredible. It just looks just like Christopher Lloyd. It's very, very accurate. Which I was worried about, because the Martys, they don't look good. Like, the rest of the figure is great, like, the body is great, but the head on Marty is just wrong, and they've done 3 different variations of it now, and each one is just, doesn't look good, doesn't look right. Whereas here, this looks like he just jumped off the screen. That is Christopher Lloyd. Down to a T, that is Christopher Lloyd. Anyway, that's enough gushing. Let's get into some details of this guy. As you can see, the head has a ton of detail. You can see his individual wrinkles and individual pores on his face, and some stubble as well. Up here you have his scar where he banged his head on the toilet, and his hair here is more blonde because, well, in the original Back to the Future, this is the younger version of Doc, whereas the older version, which I think is the version most people are more familiar with, he has his famous white curly hair, whereas here it is blonde. But yes, looks absolutely incredible, absolutely incredible. If I had to say one nitpick about this, I think it's that the eyes, they are just black dots by the looks of it. There isn't much detail in them, so from a distance, or on the camera here, it looks absolutely incredible. But then when you actually go a bit closer, on the camera, it just looks really great. Ignore me. No, ignore me. It's a great head sculpt. it's bloody fantastic. I can't even nitpick it. The neck is definitely a different skin color, different skin tone to the face, because this has so much complexity to it on the head sculpt. Then here on the neck, it's very much a smooth skin, tan colored plastic, and it is a bit noticeable. Again, not from a distance, but from close up you can tell these are definitely different colors. For his jumper, you can see the individual, it's just incredible. You can see the individual textures on his jumper here where it's been knitted. Even got his buttons here on his collar. Then for his leather jacket, it clearly looks like it's made out of leather. You have all these seams going across it, and you have buttons as well. The buttons have been painted on this jacket as well. Looks great, absolutely fantastic. Same with the detail on the gloves. It looks real. It looks very real with these plaid trousers. You can see the individual texture on them as well. You can even feel it. For his legs, his socks have been painted and they are also textured. And on the right side, it has been ripped, which is what happens in the movie when that's during the climax of the film with the clock tower. He rips his trousers whilst trying to hook up the power to the DeLorean from the clock tower. The buckles are painted on his shoes as well. Just incredible. The sculpt is great, and the paint is great. The only issue, which is an issue a lot of NECA figures have, is this. This is where the paint has come off. Just with me fiddling around with it for 5 minutes, the paint has unfortunately flaked off. So yeah, that's the details on Doc. Let's take a closer look at his articulation. So the head is on a ball joint, so you can get a bit of side to side, go up and down. This far up, this far down. The arms go up about that far. They go all the way around, although it's very stiff, so you want to be careful with that. They have double jointed elbows, so yeah, that goes up pretty far. The hands go up and down, and they can swivel all the way around. And the same articulation applies to the other side. For the torso, I believe there is there an ab crunch? It feels like there may be an ab crunch under there. I'm not entirely sure because I can't quite make it out, and I don't want to go bending this and breaking it. So you're not going to get Doc Brown doing sit-ups. So it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. His legs can go this far up and this far back and about that far out. There is a single joint in the knee, so bends about that far. It's not too ugly of a knee either. For the feet, they have a slight ankle pivot, and they can go down about that far, and they can't really go up because of the trouser leg gets in the way. And that is it for his articulation. In terms of accessories, this is everything that Doc comes with. So he has these 2 interchangeable heads, a pair of goggles, 2 gloved hands, 2 ungloved hands which have watches on them, his wrench, a do not read letter, a diagram of the flux capacitor, and what appears to be blueprints for his house. The wrench here is very well sculpted and detailed. There's been some wear put into this, definitely a nice wash going throughout. Looks absolutely incredible for such a small little accessory. The alternate head here is absolutely incredible. It's on par with the other head. I normally find ones with expressions to look not as good as the, you know, the expressionless face, but here this just screams Doc, quite literally. He is clean shaven here, whereas on the other head he does have a bit of stubble. And he also doesn't have the plasters on his forehead. The goggles look great. They are very thin, so do be careful. I have a feeling these will be prone to damage if you know, play around with them too much. The gloved hands we looked at earlier, and yeah, absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. Looks just like real leather. The only thing I would say is that it has been flaking on the joint here where it has been moved. Whereas for these hands here, they look very good. I like that they include these little watches on them. My only complaint would be that it does have the same skin tone as the neck. So it doesn't quite match the head, unfortunately, but the detail is definitely there in the sculpt. You can even see the wrinkles on the inside of his palm. Same applies for this other hand here, except he has a different watch on. The do not read letter is very accurate to the film, considering how small it is. You can still make out what it says. It says do not read until 1985. And then, these are just made of paper. So on the back it has the letter fold. The flux capacitor diagram here has all the details. Very high res for how small it is, and on the back it just has some crinkled paper. Then for the big blueprints, this looks absolutely incredible. I don't really know what I'm going to do with it, because you can't quite hold it, it's too big. If you had like a little diorama of a table and you could make Doc Brown's office, this would look incredible on that. But other than that, unfortunately this is just going to go in the accessories tub, although it is really well done. On the back it's just plain, which makes sense for this. There probably wouldn't be anything on the back. So to fit Doc's accessories is pretty simple. For the spanner here, just take his hand, this one here, the gloved one that looks like the spanner holding hand, and it just simply slots in. It's a bit of a tight squeeze, and you want to be careful not to rub any of the paint, but it does go in like so. To swap out the hands is very simple. Just take here and just simply pop it out. You can already see where the paint has flaked off on this one, unfortunately. You take one of the other hands and just pop it in, and it goes in like that. Now, the goggles, that's quite a feat to get those on, so what we'll do is we'll zoom in. Okay, so here we have the alternate head. Actually, I'll use this as an example because it's not on him. So the goggles, you look at them and you'd be like, aha, do they just go over the top like that? Yeah, no, they're not gonna go on. So as you will see here, there is a slight gap between the ears and throughout the back of the hair here. So what you want to do is put them over his eyes, try and wrap them behind his ears. It's a lot easier said than done, definitely. Okay, and then you want to get the spanner from earlier, or you can use a toothpick or whatever you want to do. Just grab that and use it to put the goggles in around here. And just tighten it all up. And there you go, you have the goggles on the Doc Brown head. And I believe this is film accurate, and this face is when the model of the DeLorean catches fire, from what I remember. And yeah, he had this expression. Yep, so to swap out the heads, it's a simple grab this one, pops off like so, take the other head, find the little socket, and just pop it on until you hear a pop. There you go. And for the paper accessories, you can get him to hold some of them, but obviously they are just bits of paper. So say we have this flux capacitor drawing here, you can get this hand and slide it in somewhat. So yeah, you can get him to hold it if you want. Or the letter, which is so small, so be extra careful with these. But they kind of just balance in there. Okay, and Doc comes in at around 7.5 inches, maybe just under that. And here is Doc in comparison to some other scale figures. Here we have a 7-inch scale McFarlane DC Multiverse figure. This is the Joker. And on this side we have the 6-inch Marvel Legends Spider-Man, just to give you some sort of height reference. And here we have Doc in comparison to the other figures from the line that I own. Here we have the Tales from Space Marty, 1985 Marty, 2015 Marty, and 1955 Biff. In terms of his height, I'm pretty sure this is accurate to how it is in the film. Obviously, Marty is pretty small. Michael J. Fox is a short king like myself, whereas Thomas F. Wilson, who plays Biff, is much larger in stature, and I do believe he is slightly taller than Doc, which is how it is here. Christopher Lloyd is quite a tall man, but Biff is bigger. Okay, and that was the NECA Ultimate Doc Brown. Very, very impressed with this guy. By far the best Back to the Future figure that has ever been released, let alone from the NECA ones. Although there really hasn't been many Back to the Future figures over the years, which is crazy. That's why I'm super excited for these. I absolutely adore the film. It's one of my favourite of all time. In fact, it is my favourite of all time. So having these guys is just, it's a dream come true. And I definitely will be buying them all, unless they continue to do repaints of Marty, which does seem to be a trend. There are definitely a lot more figures I am looking forward to in this line. I'm pretty sure at the moment they've done 5 figures, but only 3 different characters. So they've done Marty, Doc, and Biff. So in the future I'm very much excited for a George McFly, a Lorraine, a 1885 Doc and Marty. Would be insane. I absolutely love that. I really like Back to the Future 3. I think it's super underrated and I love westerns. And hopefully if they did another Marty, I know they've done so many Martys, but if they do another one, it will give them another chance to hopefully get that head sculpt right, because it's such a massive shame he's the main character. And Biff and Doc, their head sculpts are absolutely incredible. They look just like the characters, but then for some reason Marty, they just can't nail that likeness. So fingers crossed in the future. Anyway guys, this has been The Junk Planet. Look forward to more reviews coming soon. See ya.